morning, Beverly Hills Middle School. Welcome, parents, families, students, teachers, and staff. We are here to remember and celebrate all of the courageous Americans who served our country in our military branches. Throughout America today, we honor our fallen soldiers who lost their lives in war. We recall their valor and their sacrifices. We remember they gave their lives so that others might live. These brave Americans fought and died so that we may be free, so that we may live in the greatest country in the world, free from oppression and tyranny, free to be educated and foster that education to reach our full potential, regardless of race, gender, or creed. U.S. General William Grimsley stated, "It is our responsibility as citizens to remember the nation's brave fallen men and women, whether they died on foreign lands in the heat of battle or after a lifetime in the uniform of our Army. Never forget the men and women who know all too much the cost of our freedom, for their service to this country is the greatest gift of all." Memorial Day provides us with the opportunity to reflect and remember those who have died for our freedom and to celebrate what they died to protect. We brought our school together this morning to pay tribute to those who made the ultimate sacrifice for our nation. I want to thank you for being here today as we honor all of those who have served and who have lost their lives to protect our freedoms. I have the honor and privilege to introduce our speaker for today's event. Sergeant Kathleen Doherty was a student here at Beverly Hills Middle School and a graduate of Upper Darby High School. And not only that, she has a very, very special person that she cares a lot about that still gives and serves here at Beverly Hills Middle School. And you guys see her every day. A lot of my 8th graders see her every day because you need to come and get a late pass. But ultimately, that's Miss Mary Doherty as her mother. But our speaker for today, guys, without any further ado, is Sergeant Kathleen Doherty. Please welcome her to the stage.
Good morning, everybody. Hope you can hear me. All right. As was stated, my name is Sergeant Kathleen Doherty. I am in the Army, U.S. Army Reserves. Now, you might be thinking, what in the world is that? You're probably used to seeing people actually going overseas and fighting in wars and all that stuff on the news. I don't really do that. I am a person who is in the military, and I perform my military obligation 1 weekend in a month, 2 weeks in the summer. What do you do for the rest of the time? Well, I still have a regular person job, a civilian job. I am actually a teacher, a music teacher. Now, when I was in your shoes, where you guys are sitting, I wasn't really sitting down here, I was sitting up there with the band, because that's where I was. And in the Army, I am in the band. So what I do in the Army, I go on missions, perform community outreach, ceremonies, parades. There's a Memorial Day parade that's happening, or celebration that's happening in Philly that my unit is actually performing in. So if you go over there this weekend, you see them, that's what I do. I'm not here to talk about what I do for a living, and I'm not here to bore you with that. We're here to talk about Memorial Day, which is on Monday, which is why you guys have a 4-day weekend. There's a reason you have that 4-day weekend, but it all starts way, 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 way back in time, all right? Memorial Day wasn't a thing when the Revolutionary War started. Memorial Day wasn't a thing until after the Civil War. And it wasn't even recognized until even later. Memorial Day started out with a handful of people going to the graves and resting sites of these fallen soldiers who had fell during the Civil War, on both sides, North and South. They recognized that they had fought for a specific cause, whether it was one reason or another, but that Civil War almost tore this country apart. That's still a reason why we recognize that war. And that's a reason why those people decided to recognize those people who fell and died for that cause. Those people went to those graves, and they put flowers on those graves. They put ribbons, wreaths, decorations of various kinds on those graves to show those deceased soldiers that they were still remembered. Now, as time went on, eventually, that day that was completely spontaneous by many groups of people, that day was specified for May 30th. This is back in the 1800s, 1868, actually, was when May 30th was made Decoration Day. Originally, it was called Decoration Day because people would decorate those graves. And then as time went on, even after that, and especially after World War I, people didn't only just decorate the graves of those who died in the Civil War. They started to decorate those graves of people who died in World War I, which then started to snowball into other wars that had happened. World War II, the Korean War, Vietnam War, War on Terror. All these wars were eventually encompassed in this one holiday on May 30th. Now you're thinking, but wait a second, when Memorial Day, this Monday, sure is on May 30th. But as you are probably aware, I'm not going to insult your intelligence because calendars don't stay on one day every year. May 30th could have been on a Tuesday, could have been on a Wednesday, could have been on a Friday. Eventually, in 1965 or so, Congress passed an act, a uniform holiday act, where national holidays would start on Mondays to give federal employees that 3-day weekend to give that day of remembrance for those people. And eventually, in 1965, the day was not Decoration Day anymore. It was called Memorial Day to encompass all these battles people fought in, all these wars. Now, you're probably sitting here thinking, well, why do I got to learn about this? Trust me, that was my thought when I was sitting in those seats too. Why am I here? What are we doing? In those seats was my brain thinking, okay, this doesn't really affect me. Think about what would have happened if no one had fought a civil war. If we didn't have that civil war, what would have happened? And then remembering those who fell for that cause. What would have happened if we hadn't fought in World War I and remembered their sacrifices? Now, yes, this was all because those people, those soldiers, those Navy people, those Marines, all those different branches of the military, they went and fought for what we believe in, those rights that we have. And in those seats, I was thinking, okay, cool. But in the shoes that I'm wearing now, it's a little different. Because I realize how hard it is and how difficult a decision that is to think, I'm going to protect all this. I'm going to go out and do this for my country. And that's a big reason why we need to remember all these people who fell, all these soldiers, all these Marines, all these Navy people, the airmen. It's not just one branch, it's all these military branches. And it's for their sacrifice that we have this Memorial Day. So, I'm going to leave you with a few traditions that usually happen on Memorial Day. And it's not today, it's Monday. So save this for Monday. But a lot of the times, people tend to wear red poppies on Monday. So if you see people wearing red poppies, It's because of Memorial Day. And it started becoming a tradition after World War I, of that second war that we participated in. And there was a poem that went along with those poppies. That poem is called In Flanders Fields. I'm not going to tell you what that poem is. I'm going to have you look that up. That's your homework from me. Don't actually do it, it doesn't matter. But In Flanders Fields was a poem that came about because of World War I, and that's another tradition that people have. They recite this poem, they read this poem, they think back on those sacrifices that those soldiers made. And another tradition that usually happens on Memorial Day, at 3 p.m. on Memorial Day, there's a moment of silence to take a second to remember all those who fell, to take a moment to reflect on what we could have had or could not have had if these people had not sacrificed themselves. So, I just want to thank you all again for letting me come here and talk to you guys about what Memorial Day is. I hope this maybe clears a few confusions about what this day actually is. Because not many people know what it is. People think of it as, oh, there's sales at the store, or oh, the pool opens, or oh, it's the first long weekend. We can go down the shore with our family. If you're down the shore and you're going on sales and all that stuff, that's not the big reason for Memorial Day. I hope you realize that. So, thank you again, and I really appreciate you guys letting me talk for today.
Thank you very much, Sergeant Doherty. I appreciate that. At this time, I'm going to introduce two of our students, and they're going to share with us what Memorial Day means to them. First to come up is Ruba. Ruba, Iftikhar, then Ruba. I apologize.
If someone were to ask you what Memorial Day means to you, what would you say? Would you say that Memorial Day is a federal holiday in the United States to mourn for all the U.S. military personnel who have died while serving in the United States Armed Forces, and that it is observed on the last Monday of May? This is how Google defines Memorial Day. But I think it has a bigger and better meaning. Memorial Day is in the last Monday in May every year. This date was set to commemorate the sacrifices of Civil War soldiers. Memorial Day could mean a variety of things to different people. It could mean pride, especially to people whose family members have died while serving the United States military. Memorial Day could also be a day of celebration for current U.S. military personnel. I think it could also mean absolutely nothing to people who never got to celebrate it correctly. Just another holiday, am I right? I know I was one of those people who didn't worry about what the holiday was or how it came to be. But I feel differently about that now. I think Memorial Day is about all the memories and moments that you got to spend with the people who served our country, and to cherish those moments to keep moving forward. It may be a day of mourning, but remember, it is also a day of celebration. So maybe Memorial Day to me means service to our country, or giving up your lives for the sake of our country. It is about cooperation, honor, bravery, and strength. Be happy for this day, for maybe you get to live a peaceful life because of someone else's sacrifice, because they were willing to give up their lives for ours, for our freedom and our peace. To all those who have served or are currently serving our nation, thank you for your continued efforts to protecting all Americans and our rights as citizens. Thank you.
After living in the United States for 8 years and being a first-generation immigrant, Memorial Day is a holiday that I was unfamiliar with until recently. As I came to be more in touch with the concept of this holiday, I developed an admiration for the selflessness and heroism that soldiers have. I also began to reflect on the complexity of war itself. Now I think of Memorial Day as a time to acknowledge the history of the United States people who've served in militaries worldwide, and the melancholic effects of war. Although it may be unclear where this holiday originated, Columbus, Georgia, Waterloo, New York, and many other places are thought to be the birthplace of this holiday. But regardless, Memorial Day is undoubtedly important to our nation. Without the efforts of soldiers, the U.S. would not be the nation that it is today. Soldiers worldwide protect their country each time that they sacrifice their lives for the well-being of their citizens. In times of oppression, soldiers take the stance to defend their country. Not only do soldiers sacrifice their life, but they also sacrifice their household roles, whether they're a parent, sibling, provider, etc. Soldiers' commitment to the military causes them to relinquish their prior roles to take on new duties. This sacrifice in itself deserves praise. Not only can they detach themselves from the equanimity that their tranquil home life brings them, but they can adapt to new firm conditions while continuously being met with inevitable vicissitudes. When tracing back to the origins of Memorial Day, or Decoration Day at the time, the holiday first began being celebrated a few years after the Civil War, the bloodiest war in American history. In my opinion, there is no justification for war. Martin Luther King Jr. once said, "Returning violence for violence multiplies violence, adding deeper darkness to a night already devoid of stars." King's eloquent words are just as pertinent to humanity today as they were in his time. The more these tragedies take place, the more lives that will be mourned on this solemn holiday. With that being said, Memorial Day to me is a time to honor the undaunted men and women who've served in militaries worldwide. I admire these soldiers not only for their altruism, but for their ability to endure hardships with profound stoicism. It is with faith for world peace and global intolerance for war in the coming centuries that I conclude my speech. Take this weekend as a time to commemorate soldiers globally for the undeniable valor that they exhibit.
Thank you, Ruben Iftikhar. It is at this time that we will now have the presentation of the wreath. I want to take this time once again to thank our guest speaker, Sergeant Doherty. Thank you very much for that. I also would like to send a big thank you out to all the staff that was involved in putting this presentation together. This was an awesome assembly, so thank you to each and every staff member that had a part in putting this together. Thank you very much. And just a housekeeping note, we're not going to dismiss until we hear the announcement from the hallway that we're transitioning to the next period. So we're going to hang tight for that. I'll get back on the microphone and let you guys know when we're transitioning. Thank you very much. That concludes our Memorial Day presentation for our families that came to visit us. Thank you very much.